Welcome back, guys. Another episode of GhettoRig podcast number 218. My name is Jay. And if you don't know, oh shit, Mickey got it figured out. Yeah. My name is Jay. And to my right, we have my co host, Eddie. Behind the camera, best man in the business, the podcasting guru, Miguel.
All right, all
Got it
right.
figured
I thought he
out,
was
the
gonna start
claps
giving
and
me.
everything. Yeah.
I thought he was gonna give me a list.
But yeah, guys, welcome back to another episode. Quick word about our shout out to our sponsors, Vitality 1 and 2 in UFC Gym Largo and St. Petersburg. Some exciting news. Yuri Samoas is down, has touched down to Florida. He's already here. I spoke to him yesterday and today. Pretty excited. He's ready to jump. There are going to be some changes. Wait for that for schedule. Which I think going to be very good changes, as a matter of fact.
Name him Hurricane Yuri since he's coming down to Florida.
Yeah, we can name. I mean, he technically is a Hurricane Yuri because
Yeah.
no black belt of his level has ever been to Florida, really, like permanently. You know what I mean? So, well, nah, I shouldn't be lying. There've been a couple of black belts, like clearly the Gracie family black belts are down here in Sarasota, um, but no one his caliber, like ADCC multiple champions,
He's a
so on and
huge,
so forth.
huge catch.
Yeah. Um, we got other black belts that are coming down as well. Derek is one of them. He's from New Jersey. He's a cop, but he also owns a BJJ school. Um, he's a catch wrestler, so there's going to be a lot of diversity that's going to be brought to the mat, which is really good. Um, the catch wrestling is like the dirty version of um, BJJ and wrestling, right? And it's basically no gi stuff, the stuff that everyone does, but they take it to another level. You know what I mean?
John Jones just had that one new event that he's featured, or is he a co-owner, I believe?
So he is
Dirty Fighting or whatever.
Dirty Boxing.
Dirty Boxing.
Yeah, he partnered and invested on Dirty Boxing. I saw that. So now you've got Mike Perry. You have Conor McGregor, I think, also invested in that, and then John Jones as well.
Now, why they call it dirty boxing? Is that because Yoel Romero was in it?
So,
Wasn't he like fighting?
Yeah, and they revamped it completely. So Dirty Boxing is a whole nother, like, basically a new promotion. And they even like did a whole new rule set and everything. They're using 4-ounce gloves now.
Yeah.
It's its own rule set of basically boxing, and then they included ground and pound and elbows as well now. So that's something that they're gonna allow as well.
No kicks.
No kicks.
Just takedowns, ground and pound.
I don't know if you're necessarily allowed to take down. I think the whole ground and pound is. I mean, I guess if you can take them down in that sense.
Which now here's my question: why is it dirty boxing? Is that because these guys are juiced? Is that what they call it, dirty boxing?
I think it's called Dirty Boxing because it's they wanted to do boxing with like a more expanded rule set, meaning allowing elbows and smaller gloves, and it's exactly what it is. It's a dirtier version of boxing.
Yeah, because the reason I asked that because I kind of caught one of the fights. This guy won, and you know, if you want to know if somebody's on juice, you look at their traps. Their traps are uniquely, it'll go the shoulders, and then you'll have this like quick bump up.
I feel like you can't always say that.
No, correct.
People
You
have genetically like bigger traps sometimes.
Yes, they
right?
do. Like if you pull up Yoel Romero, and then just put a picture up for him.
Well, he's a genetic specimen.
He's a genetic specimen, but the reason I said pull him up because he kind of, so you can kind of see in his picture. Now I'm not saying that Yoel Romero does steroids by any means.
Well,
right?
I 100% think he does now. You know,
Yeah.
he's still performing
And
at
then
over 43,
pull a
44
picture
years
of him
old.
younger. Pull a picture of him younger. That's his genetics. See how his traps are just even with the shoulders, and then now if you look at the picture further out, and as he's older, like his traps kind of have that little bump. You
Well,
know
that's
what I
what
mean?
also when he was a lot younger, he used to wrestle.
Yeah.
He wasn't necessarily just doing. He wasn't doing mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's like one of the highest level wrestlers to come out of Cuba. He like competed in that.
Yeah,
Pretty sure he competed in the Olympics.
Can you pull up? Can you? Who does roids that now? You just pull up any bodybuilder.
I mean,
really.
any of these guys that are over 40 years old, there's no way they're
Yeah,
not
Brock
doing
Lesnar.
roids.
He's done. Yeah, so he's done roids before.
Hella,
so you can.
hella roids.
Yeah, and now he's cleaner. So clearly the traps are not. But do you see? There's that little bump in their traps, which kind of is an indication of maybe they are juicing. Like especially some of his younger pictures. Pull that younger picture up without the beard. Going
Yeah,
up.
that was a while ago.
Go no up up up. One more up. That right there. That's
He's juiced out of his mind.
yeah. That's like see those traps. Like that's not normal.
That
That's
shit looks like a cutout.
yeah
Like they cut his face and put it on someone else.
Yeah, it looks photoshopped.
yeah.
It's a mad cartoon thing, so.
I mean, the
I can see the
tattoos
people
match.
stuff.
The head, the
Yeah, but
tattoo
the
on
head
his.
doesn't.
Yeah, the head doesn't.
The head
That
is
tattoo
weird
matches
shit.
though.
Like it's not proportional even in this. Like
Go down. Go down. See in this one, his traps
He's
are
a
not
lot
there.
older there.
Yeah, he's a lot older. If he was fighting in MMA, they wouldn't allow him to do juice, so he had to be
Right.
clean off of it. So maybe that
Well,
because you
I
can
think
deflate for sure.
I think at the time when he was in the UFC, because he fought in the UFC at one point.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they weren't very like they were kind of doing sniff like what they call the sniff test. You're good.
Yeah.
So pretty sure he was juiced then too. I don't know. I think any of these athletes that are performing over 40 years old are gonna be juiced.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna have to be juiced. Yeah, there's no other way around it. But
You
I don't
gotta
know.
Compete against a 32-year-old. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
yeah, like you have the. Yeah,
you wanted me to pull up a bodybuilder that's used steroids. This guy's very open about it, and he
Yeah.
passed away.
yeah, he did.
What's
he
his
did.
name again?
Rich Piana.
Rich Piana. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very known too.
Yeah.
This guy's insane though.
Mm.
Just doing something that knows like straight up killing you. It's not like you're smoking cigarettes. Oh, no, that shit will kill you, and he knew.
Pull him out at age 18 and 46.
cigarettes will
That
kill you,
picture.
too.
Huh?
1846. That picture. The one super next to each other, all the way to yeah. There you go. That's fucking huge difference, man. That's a big fucking difference. But even at 18, look at that shit, bro. Like he's already juicing at 18. Like he fucked his entire
At least it was
endocrine
proportionate.
system. Yeah, but he fucked at his endocrine system at 18. You know what I'm saying? So,
His body didn't know what the fuck to do.
and then you can tell by the neck. See that neck? Neck is more like the almost looks like leather, not skin. That's another indication of someone juicing. You know what I mean? But it comes with time, of course.
So there was a leak from some war plans on Signal.
Yes, there
I
was.
saw that shit. Dude.
Yeah,
I
there was.
I was laughing. I was like, "What the fuck? How did that happen?"
Yeah, someone leaked
I
it.
thought they were all about we're secure. We wouldn't let any emails out.
Yeah, and they're using Signal. Well, clearly the leak happened because somebody leaked it, right?
Yeah, because
Someone
Signal's the new
leaked it.
version of WhatsApp that's supposed to be
what happened was
encrypted and all that
apparently-
stuff.
Correct.
Apparently, he was the reporter from the Atlantic was added to this group chat, and he just happened to get the message.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else in the group.
Well, the owner of Atlantic, that lady, she's a
Well,
billionaire.
how do we know this is legit as well? Like it's not something fake. Like
Hey,
something
what's going
someone-
on, man? You're back in a chat. Good to see you, man. Yeah, so that lady that owns Atlantic, she was caught with Ghislaine Maxwell in the same picture. So I'm not sure whether she was one of the people that just knew her. She's a billionaire, by the way, and she donates a lot of money to different causes. You know, she's given a lot of money away, but she's very radical to the left, right? And that magazine or newspaper, whatever you want to call it, as you know, just with anything else, newspaper, they're just, you know, newspapers weren't working before with TV and everything. Now they're working even less, right? Everyone gets their news on Apple News or whatever.
every single one of the news outlets that used to make newspapers, like for example the Tampa Bay Times,
Yeah.
they've moved on to just making articles online.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not really people.
you
Nobody
can't-
grabs a newspaper.
Yeah, you don't get the physical newspaper anymore. Yeah.
You just read the article on their website.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know the Atlantic thing. Like someone added this person on there, right?
Yeah, it's kind of
Someone
weird.
it's kind of sketch. Someone
That's why
within,
I'm saying, like, how do we know that the plans that were so like quote unquote leaked are even real plans? Like, is this just all like a
because
setup
they
for
happened.
publicity?
No, they happened. So he was added to this group chat. The Secretary of Defense, I believe, was the one that sent out the plans to basically the people that needed to know, including Trump. Hey, this attack is going to be happening at this time. And then the reporter stated in his article that he already kind of knew what was going to happen. So he was ahead. And then they hit, and he was like, oh, shit, I did get the information. So that was confirmed. It did happen. These were plans that were set out to happen, and it included sensitive information about cargo, places that they were going to get hit, like precise information.
Mm-hmm. Someone is getting fired. That's for sure. You know what I mean? Someone is getting fired. And
they're gonna go in that signal history and check who added that motherfucker to that group
very quickly. You know what I mean?
I think this may have been the one lady that Trump has, basically as a secretary. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Let me look a little bit more into it.
Yeah. So this is definitely something. Well, the good thing is that this reporter didn't really leak this before that actually happening. You know what I mean? That's important, right? This whole thing about the leak, you know, it was kind of like the bad things that could have happened from this got avoided, but at the same time, this shouldn't be happening.
So this is the article from The Atlantic. The world found out shortly before 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March 15 that the United States was bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. I, however, knew 2 hours before the first bombs exploded that the attack might be coming. The reason I knew this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan at 11:44. The plan included precise information about weapon packages, targets, and timing. Now, they want me to pay for the full article.
Well, that gives us kind of a basic rundown at least.
Wait, Pete texted him directly? No, that's bullshit. He probably texted to the fucking group chat.
Yeah, that's what he
like,
did.
see,
yes.
Yeah, but I knew this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan.
You're taking it too literal, Jay. He texted the group chat. But what he's saying is he received the war plans.
No. I get what you're saying, but like what I'm trying to say, like this is putting a spin on it. Like
no, you're taking it too literally. I think. What difference does it make? What kind of spin would that put? Doesn't really make a difference.
No, because it looks like it was just this Pete Hegseth guy and only him texting each other. That's what it looks like. Like, it's not talking about a group chat. If it said group chat, but nobody here in the beginning it mentions group chat. Maybe it'll mention further down the road.
The bad thing about text is that it can be taken out of context.
Correct.
And again, all he meant there is that he had received the war plans just with everybody, like everybody else. This was not just a text to him. Now, if I can find out a little bit more about this, I believe that group chat was probably set up by that one woman that Trump has as secretary, but I'm not 100% sure.
Now, I don't know what's their thing. The angle that they're taking is like, oh, we're not secure, right? That's what they're saying, right? Now suddenly they care if our fucking enemies know when we're bombing them.
Never
you know
mind.
what I mean?
I was wrong. Mike Waltz was the one that added, and he's a national security advisor.
Yeah, Mark Waltz is about to get his head chopped off.
I mean, they're trying to keep it on the down low. Trump already came out and said that, whoopsies, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. That's crazy. That's some Trump shit right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gonna have to say that, right?
What is he gonna say?
Yeah.
Like,
he can't fucking happens, share any information.
That's not what you say. Come on, guys. He's the president of the United States. He doesn't say just shit happens. No, you apologize that for national security getting fucked up, and you say that things like this shouldn't be happening and that it'll never happen again. You're a president. Come on, guys. We're not talking within the boys here.
I'm also paraphrasing it. You can't get mad at what I just.
No, I get what you're saying, but like
he had this whole entire speech where he said, "I'm very sorry this happened. This is something that shouldn't have happened." But it does happen.
Well, I don't agree. Like,
but they took the headline of this happens.
Yeah, no, but what I'm trying to say, what was he gonna come out and say? You know what I mean? Well, like besides the apology part, like he wasn't gonna give any information out. This is what. I
get that, but to say this happens is kind of like not very securing to people. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of makes it look like you're letting it loosely. It just happened, so we're gonna let it.
Well, no, I know what you're saying. It's going back to the same thing that I just mentioned with it. Oh, they're texting each other. You know what I mean? Like,
do you guys want to see the video of him backing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You guys want to put on your headphones so you can hear it?
Yeah, come on, let's go.
I'm not. I don't know if I can even put this on the stream.
Why not?
Depends. CNN video, definitely not.
No, it's a YouTube video.
No,
That's
but I'm
you.
saying who posted it? Is it a news art like a? See, yeah,
it's a news.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not gonna put audio for stream.
Fast forward. Fast forward more. Yeah, so there's they're they're switching blame on one to another one. Fire him.
There's no classified material. You guys classified names that were supposed to be released fucking decades ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's clear.
Hold on, listen to Trump's part.
Where's Trump's part? You got it?
There's the Trump part.
Yeah, so far they're just shifting blame from one person to another
There you go. It's in
person.
the middle there.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard him say that. Yeah, because I heard him say that. So the reporter came out and said, "Hey, what about the news that there's going to be an attack on Houthis?" And he's like, "I don't know much about it. You're the first time I hear you telling me about this. Blah blah blah." He pretty much dismissed the question and just moved on to another question.
Trump move.
Yeah, Trump moved, but at the end of the day, they're putting him on a spot. This is
Yeah.
fresh information. They're putting him on a spot, and his thing is, he could go either way. What was he gonna on a fly give some bullshit? Actually, he took the right thing because
He does. That's his specialty on the fly.
well,
give
no,
some
no,
bullshit.
no. On a fly, he says bullshit. But at least now on a fly, he didn't say bullshit, because you know what I mean. When he was talking about, I remember when like, oh, they're questioning him during the primaries. It was a primaries or debate when they're like, oh, you call women dogs, this and that. The third, he goes, not all women, only, what's her name, Rosie O'Donnell. You know what I mean? When
Dude,
he said that.
I will say this, like, every day that I wake up, or if I miss a day that I'm not on the news, and I come back like a day or two later, I find Trump again on the news. Every day there's something interesting going on with him, Like,
Yeah, so
you didn't have that.
It's
with
like
Joe.
Schultz. It's like Schultz said when he left. He said, "Man, it's not entertaining anymore."
Exactly, dude. Every time. For real.
Well,
He doesn't miss. Every day there's something new. Fucking F-47 planes. Boom. Attack on Houthis. Boom. Tariffs. Boom. It's like a show after show after show.
I've looked into this. I don't know if this was true or not. Some kid did a whole thing how like Canada is hitting us with like 200% tariffs on our milk, on our chicken. That was before the tariffs that were hitting us with
Trump
us.
spoke on that as well. He's
Yeah.
like, Canada's hitting you guys with the American people, things that you guys didn't even know. 200% on, again, like
Milk and chicken and
200%, yeah, on bullshit.
Mhm.
And then apparently we're subsidizing a lot.
Yeah.
Like a shit ton
yes,
for them to just live.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of shit that we don't know. We're out there like we're screaming this and that and a third, but there's a lot that we don't know. And what's happening right now, and I don't think like the international community likes this because he's kind of showing the dirty laundry at the same time, right? Like with his stupidity, he's also showing the dirty laundry. And a lot of people don't like that because there are things that are in place, there are agreements and handshakes. Now he's saying, fuck you, and fuck you. I'm going to do what I want to do, right? And I don't know if it's a good move, right? But then at the same time, if you're an anarchist, maybe it's a good move, right? Like dismantle the whole system, right? That's literally what he's doing.
Did you guys ever watch
I don't know if it's going to end up good for United States, though.
Did you guys ever watch the Netflix series How to Become a Tyrant?
No.
It's very good. It's very not like positive, but just it's an educational documentary and it's really interesting.
About?
Basically different dictators throughout
Okay.
the years, including some from Africa, Hussein, Gaddafi,
Mm-hmm.
Mussolini, Hitler, of course, a couple of them, and different strategies or tactics that they used to maintain power, and then it kind of escalates from the ones that didn't maintain much power to the ones that did hold on to power, like Muammar Gaddafi, who
Yeah,
fucking
like
stood
he's
in
been
power for
years, yeah,
years, and
decades.
then all the way to Kim Jong Un,
Hmm.
who is now like
How about
it's
did
a
they talk
fucking
about
kingdom.
Putin?
What is it?
Do they mention Putin even though it's
Technically not yet. That's gonna be in the future episodes.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, because I mean, technically,
I know.
he's not a dictator.
Yes,
Technically,
Yeah, there's
but
elections.
yeah, there are elections that he always wins, right? Technically, he's not a
and
dictator.
he had his little bitch become president
Yeah,
after him
Medvedev. Yeah,
to
after
just change the rule that he could now serve continuous
yes,
terms.
in perpetuation. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, um, but so he's technically not a.
On writing, not a dictator, but in reality, a dictator.
Well, no, because you have to. He's still not because you have to understand in Russia what they did during the World War II and before and after World War II. During that time, they basically like send all of their intellectual people to gulags and fucking kill them, right? Like all the smart people, they were like literally just destroyed,
That's
right?
one of the tactics in the How to Become a Tyrant. It's the cleansing of your circle.
Yeah, and then what happened after that? The ones that were smart, they became just oligarchs, like professors and shit. They just became oligarchs and became very fucking rich, right? And they also understood the game, so they were not really getting involved in politics. They're doing their shit on the side, paying off, and continuing to do it. So what happened? He's actually getting elected. There are no. I don't think the elections in Russia are rigged. But the problem is the people. I don't think they're rigged. But the people that are voting for him are like the fucking villages, the uneducated drunks that are like very nationalistic, Russia forward, and these are the people that are voting for him. Like the ones that oppose get immediately shut down, right?
I don't know. I think he's rigging that shit.
I don't think he's rigging it. I don't think he is. Now, is there a little bit of rigging? Yeah, maybe, but the margins that he's winning against his opposition, it's just there's going to be too much rigging to do. Somebody will talk, you know. He just owns the entire country, right? Like there's a lot of money that goes into um, promoting him. Well, what's his name? This guy is actually Georgian. Lenin was well the one above. Yeah, well, fucking blanking
Stalin.
was Stalin. Stalin was one of those people. Like he was very okay with sending people to gulags and fucking just killing them and stuff. And they're saying that Lenin used to be a pedophile actually. Like he was not only gay but he was also a PDF file.
PDF file.
Yeah. And then Stalin sent a bunch of people to gulags. So he had people that would watch over people, that would watch over people, that would watch over people. That's how paranoid he was.
I mean, that shit, that style of like thinking of like people to watch over people to watch over people. I mean, that shit stemmed to Cuba even and the whole
Yeah, yeah.
communist style of,
Yeah.
snitching and everything like that.
He actually killed more people than World War II did by sending them to gulags and shit. So Stalin and Khrushchev were like known for this shit. Not Khrushchev wasn't as bad, but Stalin was like Stalin was like that movie Dictator when he's like make it pointy and they're like but
Yeah.
that's literally Stalin. You know what I mean? That's him with Lenin.
The reason why I brought up this picture is because this is one of the first instances of Photoshop in the world. So this is a picture that was taken with Lenin, and this was during the time where there was a switch of power, and to show his strength, they photoshopped him so that his skin didn't have those minor details because he grew up with this one disease. I don't remember what it was.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
So they brightened up his skin.
You can
To
pull
make
the
him look better.
picture on the
They
bottom.
put
You'll
them-
see.
They put them closer together as well. They moved them together, and they also made his hand longer as well.
Yeah. So go down to that picture right there. He's got pictures of no lower to the left. One more. There you go,
How the fuck they Photoshop that?
bruh.
Basically, all they did was mess with exposure, like highlights.
Back
and
in the
shit
day,
like that.
people knew how to take
No,
pictures,
but
bro.
I think they did this by hand.
No, these
I
are
have
negatives.
no
How do you do that?
idea. Yeah, it's probably negatives. I have no idea how they did it
That's what I'm
because
saying.
I'm
So
not there yet.
they took the photos as a negative, and then when they after processing it, they probably like took it and then had someone draw like over a printed version of it, like
Hmm.
and make the corrections, and then reprint that. How else would they do it?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that like. This is what I'm saying. Back in the day, people used to do marvels with the negatives and photos because they didn't have the Photoshop things, right? So they
I
had to
get it,
mess
but
with
like,
it.
how do you make his arm longer? How do you do all that stuff? It's got to be done by hand.
And then superimposing, like maybe superimposing the same negative over the same negative and just taking that piece,
Okay,
like
making something longer that way,
yeah,
but then how would you smooth out his skin? How would you, make him closer
right.
to
You're
him?
asking me
You know
questions.
that
We need a
to me, the only
old
way
head
you
that
would
knows
think
about
be done
pictures.
would be like having the print done and then having an artist like redraw the print in a sense or draw over it and like fix it and however they want it to be
Like, see, they
fixed.
removed that dude. Go back
so
up.
I can read a little bit more so you guys find out more, a little bit more of the history. Um, I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna read that part. Photographic retouchers in Soviet Russia spent long hours smoothing out the blemishes of imperfect complexions, writes David King in his book The Commissar Vanishes, The Falsification of Photographs and Art in Stalin's Russia. As he gained power, the Soviet premier had a bit I've never seen this word. Bevi? A
Bevy?
photo
Bevy.
bevy of photo retouchers at his disposal to help smooth out his pock-marked skin, the result of suffering from smallpox as a child.
Yeah, so he had basically craters on his face. That's what it
In the
is.
widely reproduced image taken in 1922, Stalin took photo editing to new heights in his portrait with Vladimir Lenin, the leader of Bolshevik Revolution and founder of the USSR. The two appear friendly and intimating that Stalin is the heir apparent. In reality, the photograph is heavily reworked according to the Met Museum. Retouchers smoothed Stalin's pockmarked complexion, lengthened his shriveled left arm, and increased his stature so that Lenin seemed to recede benignly. In a letter dictated around the time the picture was taken, Lenin described Stalin as intolerably rude and capricious, and recommended that he be removed from his position as a Communist Party Secretary General. During the 1930s, the retouching went from the somewhat innocent act of blurring facial imperfections to the pernicious
Pernicious.
practice of falsifying reality. In the later years of Stalin's tenure, those who ran afoul of the Soviet leader were simply erased.
Hmm.
There's a little more history there, but that's super cool. I just don't understand how they did that.
Maybe there is some truth to overexplore because negatives you need to do it in complete dark, right? Like for it to come out right. Maybe they fucking took a little tiny piece of light to that area to smooth it out to
That
make it
sounds like
less
too much
dark.
science for them to understand at that time.
No, bro. They at that time they kind of knew what they were
No,
doing.
no, no. But I'm saying like to be able to precisely use a piece of light and be able to do that. That sounds like too scientific.
Man, I'm telling you, back in the day they didn't have Photoshop. These motherfuckers knew.
I know, but I'm
Clearly
saying
they're doing it somehow, right?
like
So
I'm saying with a photo with such a bad quality. Like nowadays we see people drawing stuff that looks like a photo,
yeah.
right? So
Okay,
if
I see a little bit. By the 1940s, Stalin's army of retouchers had progressed from simple retouching to falsifying reality. Their methods were surprisingly sophisticated for the time, relying on a combination of darkroom techniques and physical alteration of negatives and prints. These included composite imaging, airbrushing, negative retouching, double exposure, and forced perspective. These techniques required
so
considerable
it's a
skill.
mix of all of it of what we just said.
Yeah, everything, bro. They're throwing everything.
Yeah, they
'cause
had
you
to
gotta-
go to all the.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Like they probably reverse engineered. It's like, all right, well, if we do this, this is what it is, right? Like this, they understood the
So
basics.
yeah, not
If you
only
understand the basics. You
not
can
only
probably
messing
try
with
to
the
rework it.
exposure, but like I said, messing with the physical print.
Can you imagine
afterwards.
being the guy that was like tasked with this and he couldn't get it done
Oh my god!
right away? Like,
You bring him the photos and like, sir, this is what you wanted, right? We did all the things.
yes.
Yes.
The
It
minute
looks
turns
it
around-
looks perfect. Can you go get me some copies when he turns around?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Look at this interesting part of history. As Berlin fell in the closing days of World War II, Red Army photographer Yevgeny Khalday staged a photo of several soldiers raising the Soviet flag on the roof of Reichstag building, inspired by the American raising photograph at Iwo Jima. This iconic image represented the final defeat of Germany in a war that had cost the USSR nearly 30 million lives. However, even this triumphant moment required editing. Calday's editor noticed that one of the soldiers was wearing a wristwatch on each arm, indicating that he had been looting. The photograph was edited to remove the extra watch to appease Stalin and potentially save the soldier's life. Wow. That's like, who the fuck is paying attention to that?
Bro, back in the when your life depends on this shit, you paying attention, bro.
You imagine London's just sitting there like, this motherfucker's got a watch.
Yeah.
He's got two of them,
Did you
actually.
get paid to get
Yeah,
a
but
watch?
for you to be that like paranoid, you had to be like attention to details. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to be paranoid like that, right?
Let me show the picture to the stream here. But there's wristwatches here.
It's a pretty cool picture, actually. Like in the sense of
That
like,
is insane.
like in the sense of like artistry and photography, it's a badass fucking picture.
That is the definition of a war.
Yeah, you got the
Dark
tanks,
right
like
there.
broken buildings, people walking
This
on the
dude's
bottom.
risking his life just to wave this
Yeah,
flag.
and then there's got the spotter is holding on his
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
boot.
there is someone holding him just so
Yeah.
he doesn't fall off.
Yeah, holding on to this boot. That boot probably didn't even fucking fit him correctly. You know what I mean?
It's 3 sizes too big.
Yeah.
He said, hey, yo, let me get a pic for the gram.
You know what they used to do that, right? So what happened was they took their soldiers and they gave one of them a gun, and it was one of those like, it wasn't even like a,
Yeah.
it was,
Uh-huh.
and the other person got the bullets. And they're like, all right, your partner's now running together. One of you dies, you pick up the other one, and you continue shooting. And everyone was instructed. You see next to you people dying, whatever they got, you pick it up and you continue going.
Yeah.
And literally, they just threw people.
I mean, that's
like,
what makes sense during war, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
and then they had spotters in the back. If you turn around and ran back, they'll shoot you right there on the spot.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
you had a choice. Like, you're going to get shot for sure, or you might survive. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, what are you going to drink? Paint or fucking, or bleach? Pick your poison. You know what I mean?
oh, shit. Damn, Photoshop at this time is so weird to me. Like,
Well, we're
How,
calling
man?
it Photoshop, right? Because
It's-
that's
what
what
we
makes sense.
call
But
it,
they didn't
but-
call it
They
Photoshop
called
back in the
it
day.
erasing people from photographs.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, look at that shit, bro. Like, just completely clean, got rid of a person, like, completely. It had to be like where they cut out, like, they take two pictures of the same thing, and then they cut out that piece and superimpose over, you know? They maybe tape over the tape, like, make it all, like, cover it somehow, superimpose, make it white, and then they add the second piece on the bottom, and then just superimpose things on top of each other, and then brush it over.
Can we have an episode on just like certain countries and their histories?
Yeah, we can do that.
Like Russia. Like Russia has so much fucking history, dude.
We're gonna do fucking a lot of research on that one, bro.
No, it's just fun to talk about, dude. Like we don't have to become experts, but it's just fun to talk about crazy shit that has happened.
Well, you do.
Like
we
right
can-
now, we have Russian astronauts working.
we could
with
do a whole
US
episode.
astronauts.
We could do a whole episode on the freaking fall of the USSR. I mean, like, there's just so much.
Well, here's the thing. The first live creature to be in space was a Russian dog.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
thought it was a chimp that these motherfuckers sent.
No, it was a
What
dog
was
that
the
went
first
first. It was dog, and then it was Gagarin who went
Oh,
first
what's
to
the
space.
dog's name? The dog's name is like famous.
Yeah, there you go.
Laika.
Laika. Laika was the dog that was sent to space, and then the first person in space was Gagarin. Yuri
a
Gagarin.
stray dog.
The motherfuckers running around. They snatched him off the street. All right, bro, you going to space?
Bro didn't
did
even
that dog
know.
ever come back, or they just kind of left him there and fucking die?
The first
Yeah, imagine as an engineer, you go to your boss and like, all right, we're ready to send someone to space. So you guys have someone who you're gonna send? He says, no, not yet. Well, then what are we gonna put in it? Well, you told me to get it ready for life. It's like, okay, I want you to go out back. You know that group of dogs always hanging out by the dumpster?
Yeah, they're gone.
We're taking one of those motherfuckers. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, imagine how pissed you'd be, right? Because if it's really a dog off the street, right? Like, that shit sounds so crazy to me. Because imagine putting the dog in there, and then just as you're getting him ready to send off, he, like, passes out because of some bullshit. Because he's sick off of something off the street. You know what I mean? It's like all this work, and the motherfucker just dies from natural
So
causes.
did that Laika come back eventually?
No, she did not come back.
He never come back.
Damn, they sent her out to space and just, au revoir. What the fuck, bro? That's just crazy.
In 1957, Stray Terrier mix Leica was plucked off the streets of Moscow to be sent one-way mission that would help inform the future of space travel. Gentle in nature, the 3-year-old canine, originally named Kudryavka,
Kudryavka, which means curly hair.
meaning little curly, died alone and terrified some 940 kilometers away from Earth. But she provided scientists with some of the first data on the biological effects of spaceflight, helping us to better understand what launch and microgravity could do to human body. After
They probably x-rayed him so much for that data. The dog probably would have came back with 9 degrees of fucking cancer, bro. Like, I know we're laughing, but goddamn,
Bro, why are the Russian scientists always so sketchy?
they are, bro. I mean, because you
I
have
think
to
Every time
understand-
you hear about a Russian experiment, it's like, even as a normal person, you're listening to it, you go, this could have been done better.
Yeah.
You know?
But see, it's not just Russian scientists. I think everyone back then did it, because, like, you know, all these, there's talks about German scientists like trying to re-engineer shit. It's just we burned everything, so we don't have any of the German data, right? Like, even right now, it's crazy. Right now, if you can find a German tank and reconstruct it, it's worth like millions of dollars. A German old school like war tank, you know what I mean? Like Russian shit's plentiful, you know what I mean? Because they never fucking upgraded it from World War II, you know what I mean?
They don't upgrade anything.
Yeah.
Their war, their science.
Yeah,
they keep using the same like blueprint, just with slightly better like stuff.
yeah.
Like more power, like a shit ton more power, but about the same defense.
Just to give you an idea, when Russia, when in 2014 when they annexed Crimea, the entire world put a ban on them. That included selling them drilling equipment, right, to drill for oil. And these motherfuckers, within 6 months, reverse re-engineered the entire drilling equipment, like literally like gum and spit, put shit together and made it work. You know what I mean? So these, like, I mean, you look at Cuba. What do you think they learned how to make their own bolts and shit for all these old school cars? You know, that's all Russian, old school Russian way of
They
doing
just don't
things.
got it.
Yeah. You could see this was the funny thing. Like in a shop class, bro. Like we all had like these crazy ass saws. Like I don't know what the saw is called, but the saw, the way it looks like, it's like a handle and it's like a U shape, and in the middle of it is this thin saw, right? That you undo, and then you basically make a hole in a wood, and then you undo that, you run that through, you tighten it, and then you start cutting it around. Like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like the handheld saw we have right now.
Yeah.
But imagine that being super super thin.
They still use those.
Yeah. So like we as little kids use that, and when I say little kids, I'm talking about me being 7 years old. They were teaching us how to use these things at 7-8 years old, right? So so it's interesting. Like they used all these old school technologies to. Well, I mean, I
Russian
don't even
scientists
call it
always look
technology,
so
you know?
sketchy to me, bro. Like
They do.
they
That's
look
what I was
so
saying.
sketchy.
So, like, pull up Mendeleev. Mendeleev is the guy that basically put the fucking chemical. Mendeleev's, he put the chemical. What do you call it, the chart together? Basically, we ran on Mendeleev's chart. That's the Mendeleev chart, and the back behind him, the chemical chart for many years looked like that. See the shit behind him, and then we changed it to this, what we have right now.
Yeah.
There was a Russian scientist that got killed because there was. I
Which
believe
one?
Yeah. This specific one that I'm talking about got killed because I believe they were going through a famine, and they needed a way to.
Which one?
Yeah, another good question. I believe it was in the 1940s. So what happened was he was trying to make the crops better. So he kind of tried using Darwin's theory for the crops, but it didn't work out. Like they were not adapting to the environment. They were just not treating it, and they would just expect the crops to adapt. And they just killed dude. Like,
Yeah.
it
Well, the
doesn't
guy
work.
that came up with the whole genetic, you know, the P thing that you learn about genetics, the
P squares.
P squares.
Uh-huh.
That was a Russian scientist as well. Like he was the first one to do the cross pollination between the peas and figuring out different colors and
I may
different.
be
stuff.
wrong. It might have been Germany, not Russia, actually.
Either way, those motherfuckers were killing each other because, you know, that back then there was a race to win.
Never mind, I'm wrong again. It was Russia. It was
Yeah.
Trofim Lysenko.
Yeah, so Trofim Lysenko, yeah. Like a lot of like negative gram or positive gram, that was also figured out by a Russian guy, I think. The the coloring of the media to tell it's a negative bacteria or negative gram or positive gram bacteria.
Ah, look who it's written by.
The Atlantic.
The Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Science.
go back out
Well,
onto the
like
pictures.
I feel like you know.
You want me to look what?
Go back to the pictures you had earlier.
I feel like when you look at
Yeah, see, go down. See that's the positive gram test right there. Yeah,
Talking about this?
yeah. There's look at this motherfucker. He injects it on 3.5 million-year-old eternal live bacteria. Like these people would do shit like this. You know what I mean? Like they're just
and then
nuts.
die 4 days later.
Yeah, see, go over to the
Oh
left.
my
One more.
God.
Go over to the left. Yeah, that guy right here. This is the guy that cross pollinated the peas and and he figured out, like, literally he was the one that figured out the modern day genetics. Literally hinges on him. Like he was the building block of modern. And he was like a fucking pastor or some shit.
My issue is today they're still using his like method of everything. You know what I mean? Like they don't
Yeah.
move on from shit.
No, because like these. I mean, I'm telling you, Russians
Not what
are
he
very
created, but
intellectual.
the method of how he created it. You know what I mean? Like their style of learning and progress. Like they don't progress in that like the
No,
the
because
way they apply themselves.
correct. The reason they progressed back then, because you have to remember, French language was very revered in Russia, and if you were like a upper echelon, upper society, you spoke French. The reason St. Petersburg and Moscow, like the old cities of St. Petersburg and Moscow, look the way they do is because they revered a lot the French architecture and shit like that. So they would send people over there to learn and come back and rebuild it
Yeah.
the same way, right? So these people were very, very educated back in the day, right? The Tsar times. But then, Bolsheviks came around with Lenin shit and fucking took over everything. Everything belonged to the government. So it belongs to the government. That means you ain't getting shit done. That's when they build all those like square, they're called Khrushchevkas. Pull up that Khrushchevkas, the Russian apartments. CR. Chov.
Khrushchevska.
Kov. Khrushchev.
That.
Yeah, Khrushchevka. this right here. Like literally Lithuania, Armenia, every single one
Cuba.
of those
Cuba's
every
full of these.
yes, like this was the architectural fucking marvel of Russia for like 70 years straight. This is how they were building buildings. And these motherfuckers, like these buildings are literally like 70, 80 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they were pretty smart, but then they killed all of them. You know what I mean? They just literally killed all of them.
So this guy Trofim Lysenko, he went completely against the ideas of Mendel,
Yeah.
which is why everything went wrong for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he killed a shit ton of people with his research because he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna work. It's gonna work."
And it didn't
And
work.
It never worked.
Yeah. And then, also there was that, fight against Russia and United States for like the space exploration. So that's why there was a lot of back and forth there. Then with the Germans was like, to win the war.
Have you guys?
This is what I was looking for. What his exact idea was. A neo-Lamarckian idea claiming that in crop plants such as wheat, environmental influences are heritable via all cells of the organism. So he was basically planting crops in like the cold, hoping that they would
They'll
inherit.
just adapt to it.
Yeah, anti-cold, but no.
Yeah, but the motherfuckers skipped the part of evolution where they
Takes fucking millions of years
What
for that.
What
to
was
happen.
the country that discovered the being able to like harness the use of like nuclear stuff like the atom bomb and all that stuff?
I think
remember?
there's Russians too.
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember, like, it wasn't. Have you guys seen the movie Oppenheimer? You have seen it?
Yeah,
yet?
yeah, yeah.
You know, in the beginning, like, right when they let the news be known, like, oh, I think it was the Russians, right? That figured that out. They just.
Yeah, Soviet Union. The first country to successfully generate electricity from nuclear energy was the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And that's 54. This is 10 years after the war. Remember, they killed 30 million
No,
of
but
their
it was
people.
before. It was before the war. Who was the one that
Italy?
started the
no.
bomb race?
The Russia and United States.
I know, but remember
Who discovered the nuclear bomb? Just do that.
U.S.
Yeah. What is this?
no, it's Oppenheimer. Yeah, he discovered the nuclear bomb, right?
The development of the first atomic bomb project known the Manhattan Project.
Let's see if I can find it here.
It
Enrico Fermi was like the one that initially like discovered anything to do with that stuff.
okay. Chicago by the team led by the Italian physicist Enrico Fermi. This is in the middle of the war, 1942.
Who was Enrico Fermi?
Yeah, the
Because this
1942.
guy doesn't really get talked about very often.
No. To try to delete his ass from history.
The real father of the nuclear age, Enrico Fermi.
There you
This is
go.
the guy.
So it was in the U.S. It happened
Yeah.
The what?
that the race started. Because in the beginning, remember in the beginning of the movie of Oppenheimer, it's
I
like
barely
the new.
paid any attention.
Oh well,
to it.
in the beginning, it's like the news strikes and all the physicists are going crazy, and it's like, oh shit, like what are the Russians gonna do? What are we gonna do? And like, how are we gonna use this? Like, because all the physicists instantly knew, like, okay, this could be used for a bomb, but how was the whole thing, right? And that's where the race started, was how to use it and who was gonna do it first.
So interesting, man.
Well, look, isn't that crazy? Go back up. He dies in 1954, and Oppenheimer discovers the fucking bomb, right in 1954.
How did he die?
He was only what 53 years old when he died. Probably all that fucking radioactive shit fucking killed him. Stomach
Yeah.
cancer, yeah. There you go. He was present when the X-10 graphite reactor went critical at Oak Ridge and witnessed the Trinity test in the New Mexico desert after the war. Then became a professor at the University of Chicago, dying of stomach cancer in 1954. There you go. Motherfuckers got exposed a little bit.
Got so much fucking cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, just being at the site, that shit radiates cancer.
Interesting. So it's funny. If I asked you guys, what country was the first country to set off an atomic bomb?
Probably Japan. No, probably United States on fucking Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Give me an answer.
United States. I say United
Okay,
States
let me
was the
take
first
another-
one to use it.
Another guess.
Who was the first country to actually test and set off an atomic
Oh,
bomb?
test and set off?
So the first person to set, the first country to set off an atomic bomb.
Is a test, not on using as a war.
Test, yeah.
Oh, test probably Russians. I don't
China.
know.
Russians.
Russians.
Yeah. So from basically the way it
Why
goes.
do I always change my fucking
Yeah, you shouldn't have changed it, bro. You should have stuck.
Yeah.
Initially, only the United States possessed atomic weapons, but in 1949, the Soviet Union exploded an atomic bomb and the arms race began. Both countries continued to build more and bigger bombs, but then in 1952, the United States tested the H bomb, the hydrogen bomb.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
And
big one.
that's when we dumped that shit on fucking Hiroshima and Nagasaki
Twice.
twice.
And then Russia went on to create the Tsar bomb. No.
Who? Yeah. What is the most deadly weapon currently? Is it like, I mean, there's
Chemical
I'm sure,
gas
but no, it's
Chemical
got-
gas.
but it's not efficient.
in like destroying what it needs to destroy.
It's efficient, but in the sense of usage. You know what I mean? To be able to spread chemical gas over a large area.
over the large area. Well, no, because with the nuclear bomb, you have the winds and shit, so it's actually not very efficient. Chemical is more efficient because it's very localized.
Yeah, but one bomb can cover a lot more area. Like, you know what I mean?
It
Like,
can,
like the work.
but then the
you know what I mean?
winds will blow that shit over to you.
I
You know
get
what I
it,
mean?
but that shit happened. I know, but the way about going about it, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know which one you're talking about, Ozzy. We're answering a lot of questions on
I think
who
he's,
and what
he's,
country.
he's talking about who created the.
Nuclear
bomb.
bomb. Yeah, it was United States.
Yeah, the H bomb was created by the H bomb was created by the U.S. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. But I know these Russians, man. Like to this day, bro. Like if you want to look at it, the entire Ukraine's war with Russia is a proxy war between United States and Russia. That's literally what it is. Ukraine just got caught in the fucking middle. Like that's what it is. That's always what it's been. Like the Iran and the whole Israel thing with Palestine. That's also United States against Russia. The Houthis are like financed by Iran, who's supported by Russia. You know, these are all proxy wars. You know, at this point now, like some of the countries saying, well, if we're gonna be in a proxy war, why don't we become one of the people in a chain and get another country to do our shit for us while we're being controlled by someone else? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
that
just-
means our people go and fight.
yeah, you know what I mean. It's like it's all about because see, here's the thing. Right now, there's a race of who's gonna become the police of the world, and in a race, you have three countries: United States, China, and Russia. That's it. That's literally it. And they're all just kind of like becoming
China
friends and
and-
enemies all at the
And
same
China
time.
and Russia are pretty good friends, aren't they?
Yeah, until it's time to stab each other in the back.
Well, yeah, that's with every situation. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, between the three, the two biggest friends, the two closest ones are probably going to be China and Russia, right?
That are working closely with together, yeah, but
More
it-
closely than we are with China or we are with Russia.
correct, because we understand that they've chosen a side.
Communism.
Well, they've chosen. Well, interestingly, China is a communist country, but it is a capitalistic communism. It's a different kind of communism.
Right. The economy is capitalism, right? It's
Yeah,
supposed to be.
You know how it all started? It was crazy. Like so, in China, no one was doing any fucking work because government would come in and take everything. So these fucking farmers,
Yeah,
were
like Cuba right now.
yeah, fuck this. We're not doing anything. They're gonna come in and take it.
Yeah.
So these, what these guys did, like, they would send Chinese government would send people to look over, make sure they're not stealing or whatever. So what they did is like, well, why don't we produce this and do our shit at nighttime when they cannot see it, and we can make a trade between each other, us, and we could prosper. So one of these assholes came in and figured it out that that's what's going on. So he reported back. So whoever he reported back to, the boss is like, wait a minute, you're saying this works? Yeah. So instead of him going, actually, he had a fucking vision. Instead of him going back and killing all these fucking uh, campesinos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of killing them, he's like, okay, let's employ it. Let's give him the right to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're gonna control you. You want to open a company, go ahead. But then at any time, we can come and take it. You know what I mean? Just run it if you want to.
If you want to.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with Jack Ma. Where's Jack Ma?
Who's Jack? I don't know what you're talking about.
Alibaba's guy. Where is he?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where is he?
Gone.
Gone, bro. And gone with the wind, and nobody knows. Romanovs were the last ones in power before Lenin came over and took over everything. And what he did, Lenin basically bunched up all the brokies together, and brokies went against the rich.
He pulled a Robin Hood.
Yeah, he pulled the Robin Hood out of on everyone, and then brokies thought they're gonna have it good, and then nope, they didn't. And then what happened? They like just fucking collapsed the system. Everybody was supposed to be equal, but then everybody was fucking taking shit under the table. They're making money under the table and stuff like that. So it was just a whole nonsense that was happening there too.
It's such a weird concept that creating something and building something from the ground up for a system to be good. Let's say the initial intent of it was good, morally,
Yeah.
right? Can so easily be taken over by someone with malicious intent and still be spun in the morally good way, but then on the back end be doing the bad shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I think what's happening, like, you get people that come up with an idea, and this idea seems good, but then you get somebody that's like buys the idea but says this can be done better, and I'm going to edit the idea, and they just happen to have a louder voice than the original.
You think it's
creators of
edit the idea, or I see the idea and I see how I can take advantage?
Not only that, they can take advantage of it. I don't think initial thought is to take advantage. Initial thought is to make it better. But then when they decide to make it better, somebody always comes out from the bottom and says, no, your idea doesn't work. Mine is better. So now if you're going to continue doing your idea and you're going to push yours, you're going to have to shut these people down.
I would see it more of like the other way. These guys coming in and seeing like, okay, let's say they're coming in from the outside, right? And saying, okay, I see that, this, whatever it is, has a certain X following and X track record, has this reputation, blah, 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 blah. And thinking, I can use that to my advantage to spin whatever I want to spin.
Well, you can see that right now very well in a red pill, the manosphere, right? So the creators of the red pill were just a bunch of guys that got together and they were running blogs, right? Like they're sharing ideas. Rollo Tomassi emerged as one of the godfathers of the movement, right? But if you listen to him talk versus to the ones that are currently right now are being loud and getting the views, they're completely different ideas. Rollo Tomassi even goes in as far as says, "Listen, I don't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what the situation is. You take it the way you want to take it." But these guys went a step more and they're like, "Okay, well, this is what you need to do. We got the data and this is what you need to do," right? Rollo Tomassi is more like, think of him as a researcher. He put a bunch of research together and went into like psychology things, evolution, so on and so forth, and put his books together and his ideas together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's not a prescriptive; it's a description more than prescription, right? But these guys now doing prescription because they're like, okay, your ideas are good, but I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna redo it, and I'm gonna make it
How to apply them.
how to apply it. And then what happens? You continue going with this, and you get more clout. The more clout you get, more money comes towards you. The more money comes towards you, the more you have to push that agenda. So you continue doing it. Now there are some zealots that hardcore believe in these things, right? Like this is what they believe in. You know, this is where all the red pill movement came around, the black pill movement came around. They all came around. Black pill is the offshoot of the red pill, wherein black pill basically dudes check out. They're like, okay, well, you have to be 6 foot tall, really good looking, have a bunch of money, this and that for a girl to choose you, right? Since I don't have any of this, I'm gonna just check out of the dating market. Like, I'm just gonna go celibate. That's what they're saying, you know what I mean? And their idea is if all men go celibate, women gonna have to cry and crawl back to men, right? Which is not gonna happen.
That would never happen.
That would never happen.
We are way too horny for that to ever happen.
Although the new research just came out, they were projecting currently about 40% of women are reporting to be single and childless. They're reporting, but year 2030, 60, damn near 70% of the women are going to be single and childless.
Oh yeah, baby.
Which is, that's bad actually. That's super bad because
It's fire. That's more pussy.
well, no, remember it's
That means
not.
That means we're getting less.
That means you're getting less, correct?
Yeah.
You got
If they
more flavors.
No, you don't.
You get more flavors.
No, you don't, because what's happening, you also get once you take the dating.
Man, there are plenty flavors out in that sea right now, and plenty of you guys ain't getting no punani. So
Correct. And if you take the dating apps and dating website data, it shows that it's crazy. Like an average.
You can't go off of dating apps, bro. That shit's so whack. That shit doesn't work. It's no on everything. It's like you're playing a game to find your perfect match, and it just doesn't work.
But see that you're going off your individual level. I'm talking about in general. What happens on general? I think it's men will swipe right 56% of the time on women, where women will swipe right only 20% of the time, and only like meet with 5% of the men they swipe right on. They'll swipe right on a 20% of the men, but they'll meet only with 5, where men will swipe 54% of the time right. So that data exists across the board, right? And then also on top of that, when you combine those two things together, it's painting a completely different picture. What it's doing is more women report in being in a relationship than men do. How is that possible? That means the same men are dating multiple women. That's how they're in a relationship. Because men are reporting less in being in a relationship than are women. So the same guy is dating 1 or 2 or 3 girls at the same time. And then if you look at the curve of how many sexual partners men have, an average man is at about 5 to 8. And then the 20% goes to about, I think it's like a 30, if I'm not wrong. And then top 1% goes to 150. It's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So an average guy is not getting any. Right? So you have to be at that top 1%. Now, this is Dan Bilzerians of the world, right? Like Leonardo DiCaprio's of the world. Right? So what's going to happen in 2030, you're going to actually get less. I mean, it's good to stay optimistic, but you're going to have your ducks in a row. You know what I mean? If you want to get anywhere. Like, because if you're not buying that Gucci bag on a first date, nobody going to talk to you anymore. You know what I mean? That's what it's going towards. And apparently Tampa has this app. It's like everybody thought it's Miami and LA. No. Tampa has the app that's very prominent for these young girls going on there and getting paid to go on dates with these rich dudes. And they're like, if
We got a lot of sugar daddies.
we do, we do,
We have a
and
lot.
and the
People don't
thing,
realize how much old money is in Tampa Bay area.
yeah. So the
A lot of old
one
money.
thing to check if your girl is actually one, like have both apps, and then you like whatever girl you match with, you just go through the
I
app
think
to see if they're on
the
there.
problem is like in areas like Miami, you're looking at young money and old money,
Yeah,
right? And young money's always gonna beat old money in the sense where they're young. The girls like younger dudes.
yeah.
At the end
Yep,
of the day,
yep,
right?
of course.
They'll go with the older dudes, but a lot of times because of the money.
Yeah.
Here we have a lot of old money, not a lot of young money.
Now the only thing that beats that is status.
That comes with money though.
Not necessarily. with
Nowadays
money.
it does.
No, status doesn't come with money. I think status comes and then nowadays because status comes before money comes, right? Like
I think money definitely comes before status
you-
nowadays.
there's a lot of rich dudes that are now being taken advantage of and they have zero status.
Well, that's because they have no ability to use their like their power. You know what I mean? Like they don't know how to use it.
Correct, but that's
They're
what
40.
I'm saying.
They're even though they're rich as fuck. They're 40. They're like the dude from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
So what I'm trying to say, if you have status within a community, you don't have to have money as long as you have the status.
But I don't think nowadays in today's community that you are gonna have status without money.
You are. That's what I'm
How?
trying to.
What kind of person has status without money?
So let's say you're the guy that everyone goes to if they want to get inside a specific event, right? You might not have the money, but you might have the connections. You might know these people and be able to get people in.
That's a very few amount of people though.
For example, a good
Like
good-
extremely small amount. That's
good-
an extremely small
a
group
good
you're talking
example
about.
would be, remember in Las Vegas when we're walking around and that promoter approached us. to
Yeah,
get
I know
us
what you're
in?
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
free
promoters.
drinks and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, promoters have no money at all. I've read the book. This girl was, I think, from Boston University. She went in to become one of those girls, like the models, right? And she's talking about how these promoters will take these girls out on these lavish dates and things like that. And they're always talking about how they're gonna make it big once they meet the correct person, blah blah blah. But none of them do. So these guys don't have money, but they are smashing because they have that status, because they have access to.
Well, clearly they have enough money to be taking girls to nice restaurants.
No, they just get comped. Everything gets comped. Because they bring in like a horde of beautiful women, restaurants and nightclubs will comp everything for them. So they're not paying anything for
I
it.
get what you're saying.
Like sometimes they'll maybe pay the tip because the waiter took care of them. But you paying a $200-$300 tip versus you coming in a $5,000 tab is different.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
But I think that's such a like few amount of people.
it is. That's why the status still overshadows, because there's 30 million millionaires.
But no, that contradicts what you're saying. I think that's why money overshadows the status, because the people that are actually pulling off the status, the only status route, are a very few. You have more people with money pulling that off.
No, they're not pulling it off. They're getting finessed. The girls will go on the dates, get the money, get the bags, get this, then that, but they won't sleep with them. They're getting finessed. This is the newest thing, finessing. A new thing is also the pay pigs. You ever heard of that? They pretty much like dog the dudes, like, send me money, you piece of shit, your dick is small, blah blah blah.
I think this is one of
This
those
is the newest
double-edged
thing, though.
swords, guys.
Well, those are
If-
very.
if
That's
you're
that's
taking-
also a very small group of guys
is.
that likes being dominated.
If you're looking at guys,
And these are rich dudes. Like, I'm talking about CEOs and shit.
if you're looking at guys, I think money comes before fame, and then if you're looking at girls, I think fame comes before money.
Well, okay. Let's look at it this way.
I
Bad
agree,
Bunny,
Mikey.
did his fame come before the money or money came before the fame?
Fame
came before the money.
Yes.
Maluma, same thing.
Well, that's all
Leonardo
because of
DiCaprio.
You're still talking about such a small, minute group.
Well, but that's who has the status. That's the 1%ers, right?
R-
You have
well-
to talk about them.
Not necessarily, because guys who can have status can be just business owners or anything like that.
Yeah, but they don't have Leonardo DiCaprio. So, okay.
You're talking about an
but
extreme
remember-
level of
but
status.
you also
We need to be talking about an attainable amount
So
of
what
status.
I'm trying to say-
also thinking here, like, who pays those people? Probably people that you don't even know about.
What are you talking about?
People that don't have any status, but have a shit ton of money.
Yes.
They're not famous.
They're
But
not
they
famous,
pay,
correct.
But they pay people that are famous.
Yes,
To be at places, to act, to do whatever it is that they do.
correct.
So
But the thing is, let's say I'm rich and I'm bringing, I don't know who's the hottest rapper right now
The baby or some shit like that.
to perform, right? I have the money, I paid him to come in. But because he's the one that gets in front of the crowd and performs, he has automatically more status than I do, even though I paid for him.
Well, okay. What does that have to do?
The point here is, even though if I'm making more money than him, he's gonna get laid more than
Yeah,
I will.
well, because you're talking about an astronomical extreme of status.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the literal extreme we're talking about.
Okay, well,
On the what I'm trying to say is on the majority. When it comes to the majority,
mm-hmm.
these guys are achieving money before status.
Yes, but they don't have the same pool. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, well, because it all depends on the
That's what I'm
height
saying.
of where you fall in that spectrum.
That's what
But
I'm
when
saying.
I'm talking about the majority, I agree with Mickey. The money for men is gonna come way before the status
Yes,
does.
but the status has more sway. If we're talking about attracting the opposite sex, he has more sway on attracting the opposite sex.
I don't know if I agree with that either. Because think of it this way, right? Let's say if we could theoretically put the power efficiency of both the money and status at the same level for some reason, right?
Okay.
Like meaning but in the sense where like your status is only as far as your city. Right?
Okay.
People outside your city, they don't know
Yeah.
who the fuck you are. Right?
Yes.
But in your city, you get shit comped, you fuck all the bitches.
Yeah.
Like
You don't have to be rich. That's my point. That's your.
You don't have to be rich. Ready?
That's
right.
your
But-
promoter.
But the guy that has the same amount of pool as him because of his money, right? Put him at the same power level, like I said, right? Can go outside of that city and still use his status because he's got the money. Anywhere he goes, he's still got that
but then
money.
you're just dropping the money. People still don't know you.
Power's power.
No, but you still dropping the
Power's
money.
power, baby.
You have to know someone outside the city.
Power's power.
I don't agree. I don't think that money. See, this is the thing. I don't think money.
Well, without a little bit of finesse, money ain't gonna.
That's what I'm saying. You have to have the finesse naturally. If you don't have the finesse,
Yeah,
but if
like
you
I
have the
said,
finesse,
because just
money
like I said,
just opens more doors for you.
just like 100%.
It opens
Just,
more doors
just
for you.
like
but
I
you
said
need to
at
have
the beginning,
finesse.
even if you're rich as fuck, but if you're still like the dude from 40-Year-Old Virgin, you ain't pulling no bitches. Doesn't matter.
Correct.
You could be Bill.
Correct.
You could literally be Bill Gates.
Yes.
I
Well,
could- I
Bill
could-
Gates.
That's what I said. Literally,
I
Bill
could
Gates.
be- I could
Bill Gates
be-
got all the money in the world. Ain't got no risk.
Look at Bezos. Look at Bezos. Have you seen that famous video?
Let's talk about the tism dude, Elon.
Well, no,
But Elon be fucking.
yeah, but he's got different type of status. But look at Bezos. He's got money and he's rich. But because he doesn't know what it is, did you see that video of him and his new girl or wife or whatever?
Yeah.
And they met Leonardo DiCaprio. The way she's looking at Leonardo DiCaprio and like completely ignoring Bezos. Bezos arguably has more money than Leo.
No, arguably he does.
He does, but Leo has more status. Period. Point blank.
Well, yeah, because they're like I said, you know, they can outweigh.
Can you pull up that
itself.
video? Bezos' new girlfriend looks at Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wrap it up on this, boys.
Yeah, there you go. That right there. Yeah, right there, right there. Look at that shit. Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit. Look. It wasn't enough the way she's looking at him. Look, she starts following him too and leaves Bezos alone. Watch. Boom.
They're probably walking
Bezos.
together.
Look at that
Come on.
shit, bro.
Together.
Look at that
you're,
shit.
You're going to the extreme.
You're
She's
telling me that you're
leaving.
not impressed that Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't care how much money. This motherfucker is a legend. Like
This is my
the
point.
art that he's created.
This is my
insane.
point. So money can give you some status, but status.
But one thing is, everybody in that fucking room knows. Can't fucking compete with Bezos, boy.
Men
he pays
do.
you to be in his movie.
Men do, but women don't think that way. Remember, men and women are different. Men do. We understand that shit. We understand that Bezos, on all levels, he can buy Leonardo DiCaprio several times over. But women don't get that because Leonardo DiCaprio is more famous than Bezos across the globe.
I disagree, brother.
I don't disagree.
Everybody.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. And the extreme top levels,
Yes.
the status has more pull at the extreme top levels. But what I was trying to say is, I think the majority of men in that entire spectrum are receiving money before status. That's all I was saying earlier.
No, if you're talking about a couple of $1 million, then yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of $1 million, then yeah, then you're a local celebrity, right? Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. But there's always gonna be a young guy or a guy that's Leonardo DiCaprio that has better access that's gonna be a bigger celebrity than you, even within the local circles.
There's always a bigger fish than you, man.
Well, no, it's not about the fish. It's just I think the status is more important. It's always been like that. You know, the high school prom king and a queen, usually the best athlete with the
Nigga
prettiest
usually dumb as
girl.
rocks.
Huh?
Nigga usually dumb as rocks.
Yes.
When you're known, when you're,
Yes, yes, but it's his status because he's the coolest dude in school,
when
right?
you're known for being the best at what you do, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're good at, dude. You're that dude of that thing.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up there for today. We'll come back on Thursday, guys, with another episode of the GhettoRig podcast. Before we leave, we will shout out to our sponsors: UFC Gym Largo in Pinellas Park and UFC and Vitality Wellness.
What's up,
Centers.
Foreman?
Come
What's
on,
up,
man,
Alex?
Eddie's-
Thanks for joining.
Spit it out. Damn. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. We will catch you guys on Thursday. We got a couple guests coming in. So yeah, make sure to tune in.
Stay tuned. Peace.
Peace.